We need to have the ability to opt out of it and not to be forced to deal with it anymore, because we know it doesn't benefit us. We know it's there just to take advantage of us and to rake us over the coals and all the rest of it. And at the end of the day, just leave us basically with nothing. When we're just struggling to get ahead anyway, with next to nothing to work with to begin with. So I mean, if we are to find some way to opt out of this particular system, then of course there needs to be another system for us to opt into. And currently, I don't see anybody trying to create a proper system that works well for this percentage of the population, people on government assistance and the working poor primarily. And so the only things that I've become aware of recently are one, cooperative housing. Now apparently there is cooperative housing here in St. John's, and not a single solitary soul told me about it. I kind of discovered it haphazardly just through my web searching and all the rest of it. All these agencies and everything out there, supposedly out there to help you, no one told me about cooperative housing. So cooperative housing is one thing where the tenants themselves have a say in the properties that they're living in. So you don't have an outside property owner thing kind of lording over the tenant, dictating to them and all the rest of it. The tenant themselves are the ones that kind of control the properties and so on and so forth. And like much more say, much more control, much more protections and all the rest of it, sort of thing that you don't have at all under this current system. And the other thing that desperately needs to be set up, guys, we need to get on the go, like majorly much more so than it's already existing. I know there are people in different parts of Canada, down in the States, different places making attempts at it now, but we really need to push this thing majorly, and that's tenants unions. Getting more tenants unions on the go, and not tenants associations, guys, because I love how people love watering things down to make sure tenants don't have a proper voice. No, tenants unions. We need to get tenants unions on the go. All across the country, thousands and thousands of them everywhere in every province and so on that, and everybody that goes through the types of stuff that I'm going through right now would be a part of these unions, and you would have a strong voice, and you'd have somebody speaking up for you, you'd have somebody advocating to you, to government and to the different branches of government and so on that, and to media as well, to get the message out properly of what happens to people like ourselves when we're raked over the coals with the current system. I mean, it wouldn't be happening then because we'd be opting out of it and into another system. But beyond that, right now, guys, I mean, I'm not aware of too much more that's on the go, that should be on the go, that to protect us better, Landlord tenancy. I mean, landlord tenancy is useless, guys. I don't know what it's like down in the United States. It's probably probably worse than the United States. But here in Canada, every province in Canada, and particularly here in Newfoundland, it's useless. It is an utterly useless branch of government, because that's basically all it is anyway, branch of government. It claims to be there for both parties, for all parties concerned sort of thing, but it's not. It's at the end of the day, it is still the property owner that comes out on top. The system is structured in such a way that it firstly almost always favors the property owner. And for some oddball reason, guys, there's nobody out there that sees the wrongness of that sees the unfairness of that sees the inequitableness, you know what I'm trying to say there, of that. So what needs to be changed there, like I'm trying to push for, is that tenants need better protection. Tenants need more say, more control, more rights. It's claimed that we have rights under this current system. We have no rights to speak of, guys. We really don't, because if we did, the things that are done to us, that are forced upon us, that are out and right utterly inhuman and should be criminal, would not be happening, So, so I don't put much faith, I don't put virtually any faith in landlord tenancy to advocate for me as a tenant, because I've contacted them before and they've proven to me how useless they are. To benefit me, to advocate for me, and I don't see anything changing anytime soon. Because the thing there, guys, is that and it's not surprising because you don't have to have much brains to figure this out yourself, sort of thing. The ones that got the current system set up are the ones that are benefiting of it themselves. Now you stop and think about this. Who owns all the properties? If it's not like politicians and business people and people that have already gotten ahead in society, financially, sort of thing, they can afford to get the properties. So they get the properties because they want to make more money for themselves. Primarily, solely, almost exclusively because they want to make more money for themselves. Now, because it's set up that way and it's set up to benefit them, and they're the ones that are controlling the current system, well, obviously they're going to be pretty damn freaking slow to change the system, aren't they? They're not going to do anything that's going to work against their benefit and their profits. So when you got agencies that are representing the government or branches of the government claiming to be there for you as the tenant, you know full damn well that they're not going to be there for you as the tenant properly and equitably. So this is why there's got to be outside sources set up that are advocates for the tenant and the tenant solely, you know, to push the issues and concerns properly of what tenants have to go through, what they have to endure and all that. Now, of course, property owners are going to fight back and say, well, this is what we have to go through, this is what we have to deal with, bad tenants, bad blah, 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 because I've heard it my entire renting life, guys. They're not going to just roll over and just let us do this to them, sort of thing, because they want to keep the control. But regardless of that, any fight that has ever existed in the past where undertrodden group of people have had to come out on the top or come out like on an equal basis, they've had to fight like mad to gain those rights and to gain that position. And nothing's going to happen any different with the rental situation here in Canada and with tenants, you know, right across the board. And like I said, like people on government assistance and the working poor. You know, like right now, we don't have a voice. We're not a voice. We're not a strong, cohesive voice. But it's time that we start being so. And in order to do that, we've got to rise up ourselves. We've got to be willing to rise up ourselves, to come together, to organize, to share our stories, to share the stuff that we've been through, and to formalize ideas, you know, that will go into policies that we present to government that will actually properly benefit us. You know, and not benefit the owner at the expense of us, which clearly is what's going on right now, you know. All right, so I'm going to leave this one there now, guys. I'll take a chance on this. Now it's going to be 2 8-minute videos. I got it on the 4K there now, so trying to keep my head here now, guys, while I'm doing this, and keep calm, cool, and collective, and try to get some good points across. So I'll leave it at that with this one there now, and maybe start another one up in a few minutes. I might have let this thing cool down a bit now before I start another one. Okay, everyone, take care. God bless. Bye for now.